Okay, welcome back. We're having a fun conversation, an interesting conversation with Jon Peniel, who has many things going on in his life. He is moving forward. Before we get back to the story, and as I mentioned on the way out, it was Johnny Rivers' song, Secret Agent Man. That's what it was, for all of you folks who knew it and were trying to tell me, thank you, I got it. Okay, John, tell us what you're doing right now. You're building and moving and creating, and you've got a lot of help. And where are you centered, and what are you doing?
Oh, centered. The Rocky Mountains right now is where we're trying to rebuild the monastery, and we're also working on a world food project that we hope will help everything from small families to small family farmers survive upcoming changes and be able to grow their own food in harsh conditions.
The simple solution is to immediate hunger, and maybe the mad cow, foot and mouth crises will bring this about inadvertently. If we were just to cut back as Americans only, on our consumption of beef by 10%, we feed the world.
Well, the prion is the way you pronounce it. I guess the prion thing is something, from what I'm seeing, it's awful doom and gloom stuff, but it could literally wipe out all animal life. I mean, it's crossing over. There's mad cat disease now. Fox News reported that elk and deer herds in the United States have a version of it now.
Yeah, we've covered that at great length on the program. 15% is the conservative estimate for the number of deer, wild deer, that have mad deer disease now.
Well, you're going to have to look over the updates on our website, too, because we have news there, but you're way ahead of us.
Well, I stay on it around the clock because it is happening, and it's right there. I'm an old-fashioned journalist, and I just love to bring news to people's attention so they can take a look. They deserve it, and our government treats us like we're not worthy. We're not intelligent enough. We're not trustworthy enough to be given even basic facts. Everything is skewed. You know the game, and our listeners know the game. So,
I watched the O'Reilly thing on TV too, because it's similar in that way, at least.
Yeah.
He has the guts to talk about things, even if you don't disagree, or if you disagree with them, or you do agree with them. You get stuff out there.
That's right. Now, you're going to rebuild. You're going to try to rebuild the monastery. Tell me about this. I mean, are you going to try to rebuild it in its full size?
No, it's not going to be
that's
duplicate.
A city.
And it's going to have to be, the original ones were built with very high, still Atlantean technology, so we don't have that at our disposal anymore, so we're looking at options of the best of the current alternative building systems, and probably earth sheltering type things, straw bale type things. We're going to experiment with a lot of different things. Domes. And we've shifted more, though, to the food project because of what's happening in the world right now. And it's people are getting hit on not just the meat end of things, but also on the vegetable end of things, as you know.
Everything is connected. We have this terrible oversight as human beings. We look at things as separate units, and nothing could be further from the truth. You learned that as a teenager in the monastery. There are no separates.
No, it's all one. Everything's connected. Synchronicity. One thing affects everything else.
You can't throw a rock in the pond and expect the ripples not to reach the other side. It just doesn't work.
Exactly. And then you get the repercussions, the ripples hit the edge, and those come back.
They come back, and they they move the other way, and they crisscross, and they create geometrically more complex interactions, and that's what we're doing here. Now, the Starlink corn, the genetically modified corn issue, we put a story up last week that the big boys who are behind this admit now that they'll never be able to pull back and remove this genetically modified corn. I mean, it's here to stay.
Yeah, I've heard it may have contaminated the other corn crops too.
It has. It's here. It's out of the bottle, and there's no way to put it back. Yeah. So we have changed things essentially overnight that have taken millions of years to stabilize and to evolve into. We have changed them overnight, and those ripples.
Yeah, in a very short period of time. It's
overnight.
Yeah, literally overnight in any kind of broad way of looking at things.
How are you doing with respect to bringing the knowledge to others? Are more and more finding Jon Peniel, or how?
Well, that's my main, mission and goal is getting the lost teachings out to people, and it's oddly enough, it's been a bestseller, and but we're constantly encountering problems. Like our primary distributor stopped paying and slowly went out of business as of July, like a year and a half ago, and we've still felt the repercussions of that, and it just got things back in gear a few months ago. And meanwhile, people have heard about the book, and a bulk market actually grew up around it, and retailers were selling it for double its retail price because if they got a copy and people wanted it, they pay it. So that stopped because it's back in circulation, but printers are owed money, and it's still going strong. It's amazing. People just pass it around to each other, and if people are listening that felt like me when I was a teenager, which I'd given up on really finding truth and things that really made sense to me about life and had the answers, and it was all in one place, you should give this a try. You should give the teachings a try. If you don't believe in Atlantis, we don't care. If you don't believe in the children of Law of One, we don't care. If you don't believe in reincarnation, it doesn't matter. But give the teachings a look, because they're very simple, they're very true, and it just makes things click where you finally understand who we are, what we're doing here, and what life's all about. And you can really change your life.
Any continuing contact with the Casey people?
They have taken apparently a very negative stance towards us. They've ignored us. I've sent like 20 letters off to executives and gotten no response. They did a negative book sort of review, unlike any book review I've ever seen in my life, because it didn't review the book at all. It spent like whole paragraphs complaining about my name not being on the front cover and only being on the spine and on the back, things like that. And complaining about the conversational style and saying that the book was too long, which is interesting because I didn't know there was such a thing as a number of pages.
Well, gee, I didn't know that either. I didn't know a book could be too long.
Apparently figured out the length books should be.
Don't tell that to the Urantia people.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, or War and Peace, or, a few of those other minor novels out there.
Right. It's amazing. When you go to Jon Peniel's website, you'll see at the top, for those of you not online, not able to see this, a very elegant site. The Children of the Law of One, right at the top. Is the book being currently sold, John, through your website? Do you have some copies available?
Yes, and it helps all of our projects, the monastery and supporting monks and the World Food Project, to get directly from us, because obviously there's more profit. You lose it when you go to distributors, you lose it when you go to stores. But
profit? What is that?
Really?
A lot of folks don't understand that when you create, when you write a book, when you assemble a book, making money on that has very little to do with the actual process of creating the book.
No, but you have to pay the printers.
If you're real lucky to cover costs, that puts you in the top 10%. Many people can never even cover their costs.
We're fortunate that we've got kind printers, and they're allowing us to make payments to them.
Well, that is good. All right. Okay, what do we want to talk about, Jen? You have
and also, I just finished this UFO stuff. There's so much of it. There's probably going to be 4 or 5 booklets about it. I just finished the first today, and that's available.
Well, tell us more. You have a banquet of things to talk about, and you're privy to those. So, put up on our table what you think we ought to hear.
Regarding the UFO stuff?
Yeah, UFOs. Tie it together however you want. I think that's a particular.
Well, probably the most important thing is that it's pretty much a consensus. I'm sure you kind of agree, and it's definitely a consensus amongst Native Americans and a lot of Aboriginal people all over the world, not just us, that we are, and you can see these crazy things that are happening in the world, that we're concluding the world as we know it very rapidly right now.
We are concluding the world as we know it.
Very rapidly right now.
Business as usual is
the Indians called the Great Purification.
Mm-hmm.
Earth changes, but there's a lot more to it than just Earth changes. And as far as the UFO issues, again, the ancient teachings talk about the highest consciousness of the aliens, which translates to the Space Brothers. that there may be, and again, it was very emphasized, that they may intercede on the behalf of the good people of the earth, either in the midst of things, all hell breaking loose, or after it's over, to help people. And an interesting thing occurred in music, which took place, I think, in the late 60s and the 70s again, when things were still popular, is that a number of musicians became prophets, and whether it was channeling and they were on drugs and the music was a meditation, but in any case, a lot of them started talking about Space Brother type alien intervention, including Jimi Hendrix, the Moody Blues, ELO, and Neil Young. We were talking about earlier, the real Neil Young, or the musical one.
Right.
He did a song called After the Gold Rush, and it talks about, lying in a burned out basement and essentially the world being destroyed, and Mother Nature's, he dreamed he saw the spaceships flying in the full moon, or what is it, the haze of the sun, flying Mother Nature's, there are children crying and colors flying all around the chosen ones, flying Mother Nature's silver seed to a new home in the sun.
Well, yet another variation on the extraction and salvation of a certain portion of humanity.
Yeah, and a lot of people have got to get this through their head. They've got to earn it. They've got to deserve it. If there is going to be any survival, the old prophecies talk about all these changes taking place, the earth changes and all these things that are happening, the diseases, being a third of a population left, and those will be the better people, good-hearted people, the more compassionate people. That has changed since the 1940s, as far as there's a chance there's not going to be any survival. But if there still is that, there's too many people out there that believe they can live however they want, not care about what's going on to other people in the world or what's going on to their next door neighbor.
Right.
Just not care.
A lot of people
they're going to be saved, and they believe they're going to be saved. Either
That's
by
true.
aliens or by Jesus, whatever.
Or because they go to the church on Sunday.
Yeah, but they're going to be in for a big surprise. They don't change their lives.
A lot of people don't even know who their neighbors are anymore. And for those of you who live outside the city, I know I don't have to tell you what it feels like to go into a city. A city, in a way to me, John, seems almost like an unnatural state of existence. It is so tense, so fraught with 1,000 stresses and turbulent issues, not even talking about crime. It's weird. Very strange. Environmentally, they're fishbowls of environmentally unfriendly issues to deal with. Be right back with Jon Peniel in just a couple minutes. Glad you're here, and we shall continue.